Hello and welcome to this episode of Park Views with Brad Hughes. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Views with Hughes. That's Hughes. You can also check out the YouTube channel, youtube.com/The Daily Disney Blog. Please rate and review the show on iTunes and Stitcher. And you can also comment over on Libsyn. With all that being said, thank you for downloading this episode, and I hope you enjoy the show. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Park Views with Brad Hughes. Or if you're new to the show, welcome to the show. I am the namesake of this podcast, Brad Hughes. How are you? Hope everybody's doing fantastic. I know I am. Before we get the actual show started, I wanted to make sure that everyone who listens to this show knows that we are going to Star Wars Celebration, and we're going to be covering 4 of the 5 days. I'm not going to be staying all 5 days because flights coming back were very, very expensive. It was like flying back for $200 on Sunday or flying back $300 on... No, hang on. I'm sorry. It was like I think $250 to fly back on after the last day of Celebration, or $34 to fly back on the day before Celebration ends. So as of right now, the only big panel is going to be the 20th anniversary of The Phantom Menace, which don't care. But we'll see. If I can change, I'm going to try to change. But we'll be covering all the big stuff from Celebration. If you are into Star Wars news, you'll be able to find that out over on Jedi Talk. We're going to be doing all of the announcements for Celebration in the same feed as the Park Views with Brad Hughes feed, which leads me to another piece of an announcement. Jedi Talk is going to have its own feed. We're going to be our own show on the podcast feed. It's going to have its own feed, so no more of having to find Park Views with Brad Hughes and then finding the Jedi Talk episodes in that feed. We're going to have our own feed, and the reason is if you go to Apple Podcasts and type in Jedi Talk, it doesn't show up. It shows up some old podcasts that did like one episode. I'm actually also tinkering with maybe changing the name of the podcast, but that is for later discussions. But we have a big show to get into today. Oh boy, do we. All kinds of crazy stuff has happened over the last 24 hours. Let's start with the big news here. The Disney and Fox merger has officially happened. I am mixed feelings about this one. Now, I do have to say, I finally understand how people felt who were not Star Wars and Marvel fans about Disney acquiring an outside company. Because I've always loved Marvel. I've always loved Star Wars. So for me, I was just like, yes, we get to have Disney versions of all these cool things. And, you know, MCU worked out very well. And having all the stuff that Marvel's doing at Disneyland is going to work out well. And obviously Star Wars is working out very well, you know, Galaxy's Edge. I'm a little worried because the standout brand for me with Fox is Avatar. And we have that already. So I don't know what we're going to do because I don't see the Simpsons coming in to the parks because they're over Universal. But just in general, even if they weren't, I wouldn't see that happening. But I don't know what other franchise you could do with Fox that would make it into the parks. And I always think parks first because I live in Orlando, if you didn't know. I live about 5 minutes from Disney World. So I always go parks first because that's just where my brain is. I don't necessarily think I need a bunch of stuff from Fox in the parks. But it's interesting to see what's going to happen with the movies going forward. Excuse me. If they're going to, you know, release everything under a Fox umbrella or a Disney umbrella, I would imagine that the studios will probably stay the same. And, you know, the stuff that they don't want to release as a Disney film will now be released under the Fox banner. This is interesting for Marvel because it could mean a lot of things. I tweeted out this morning that I would really like to see the Fantastic Four join the MCU. It would be very interesting to me. I'm a pretty big Fantastic Four fan. They're one of my favorite characters in Marvel. So I'd be very curious to see with that. And Doctor Doom would just be a freaking awesome villain in the MCU. He's one of the coolest villains of all time anyway. Put him in the MCU where everything's just firing on all cylinders right now would be fantastic. No pun intended. So it's pretty interesting. There's a longer discussion to be had about the 20th Century Fox and Disney merger. But I just wanted to drop that little tidbit because it's official now. Everything is happening. And Bart Simpson is now a Disney character, which is kind of strange. More big news. Moving on. More big news that happened yesterday. Toy Story 4 trailer dropped. I did a trailer reaction over on the YouTube channel. You can go check that out. I'll be honest with you. It's kind of a boring reaction. I will never play up to the camera. Like when I did the one with The Last Jedi and I was like freaking out, that was legitimate. The reason I did a trailer reaction in the first place was because when we were at Celebration and we saw the trailer, I was freaking out hard. And Josh was like, we should have filmed this. And I was like, oh, probably should have. I'll never pretend to be all into something if I freak out and then go back and watch the Last Jedi one, because I did freak out, like got on the ground and freaked out. To be honest with you, I forgot we'd filmed because I had set the camera up to film that like 20 minutes before and just filmed the entire 20 minutes and then added it out together. So it would be just the trailer. So I'd forgotten we were filming in the first place. So, yeah, so the trailer reaction is pretty cool. My thoughts on the trailer are kind of mixed. I really like Forky. I like the characters that they're showing. I don't know how I feel about the story yet, but again, most Disney and Pixar trailers to me are not that good. Like think of Coco. Coco wasn't like the greatest trailer of all time. Frozen didn't have good trailers leading up to it. Here's how little I knew about going into Frozen. I thought Frozen was about Olaf. For real. I had no idea it was a princess movie. I didn't really pay attention to much marketing about Frozen, though. I was going through a lot of personal stuff at the time, so I didn't really pay attention too much about it. But I don't know. I just feel like when they do a trailer, it's not usually something where you go like, there it is, that's what I wanted. But the films usually deliver. I see people like doubting it. I'm trying not to reserve judgment until I see it, because A, that's like the no duh thing to do. Don't judge something until you've seen it. But I also think that like Toy Story meant so much to Pixar as a company that I don't think they would just reduce it to a money grab. There's plenty of other things they could have done. Like I feel like Cars 2 and 3 were money grabs. I don't think Toy Story 4 is going to be a money grab. From what I had heard, the script for this was so good that John Lasseter had returned to direct the film himself, and then obviously what happened, and he's no longer with Pixar. And from what I understand, it's just really, really going to be a great film. So I'm really hoping it is. I really want it to be really, really good. But we will see. Time will tell. So I'm excited about it. I don't know how I feel about it yet, but that doesn't mean anything. I'm going to be there opening day, and I'll watch it 5 times and probably cry. If what Tom Hanks and Tim Allen are saying about the ending of this film is accurate, it's gonna be worse than Toy Story 3. So get excited for it. Don't hate on it. And if you don't love Forky, we have a problem, because Forky is freaking adorable. Now, somebody on my Twitter was was saying like, what does this like mean for like the universe? Like if you just make anything and call it a toy, does it come to life? Who knows? I think you're kind of nitpicking a little bit. You know who you are, but it's a funny thought. Let's see here. Moving on to the next one here. Disney Walk Around the World bricks to be removed in coming months. So they're doing a revamp of the walkways around the parks, I'm assuming, and the bricks that have like the names on them that were done for, I believe, I could be wrong on this, but I'm pretty sure they were done right before the 25th anniversary through the Millennium Celebration. For the bricks. I think Leo Legacy was just the turn of the century, right? I don't remember. Or for the year 2000, turn of the century. So from what I understand, what they're doing is if you have a brick, you don't get to keep your actual brick. But of course you can't, because how would they store them? How would they get them all up? How would they sort them? It would just be a nightmare. So you don't get to keep your own brick. But what you can do is I believe you can go to guest relations at Magic Kingdom. They can look up that you have a brick somehow. And if you have a brick, you can go buy a commemorative one that doesn't have a name engraved, but it looks like a small version of one of those bricks. It doesn't have your name engraved on it. You can still buy one of these if you don't have a brick. They just cost more. So if you have one already, they charge you $10, I believe. And if you do not have one, I think they're $25 or $29. I don't remember the price exactly, but and they are available at the Space Mountain gift shop. So you can go after you ride Space Mountain, you can go to like behind where the Magic Bands on Demand are and grab one from there if you really, really want one. They're cool. There's 2 designs from what I can tell. There's a Mickey Mouse one that just says Mickey Mouse on the whatever date, and then there's one that has the partner statue on it. They're pretty cool. I might get one and use it as a coaster. They look really cute, so I probably want to get one of these, even though I don't have a brick. I have found one with the same last name though, which is pretty cool. Let's see here. Moving on to the next story. This is pretty interesting. Excuse me. It's really early in the morning, so I apologize that my voice sounds like this. A new Crave restaurant has been announced for Epcot's France Pavilion and will open in time for the 50th anniversary celebration. And this is in the same area, from what I understand, as the Ratatouille attraction that we'll be getting. It'll be kind of in conjunction with that. So if you love crepes like I don't, you should be excited for a new crepe restaurant. Yeah, I guess. Moving on. Let's see. New Lego Steamboat Willie set is coming on April 1st. Now, I'm not a big Lego person, but I really might have to get one of these because this thing looks so freaking cool. It looks exactly like you would want to look. Black and white bricks, little Steamboat Willie, Mickey, made out of Legos. It's really, really cool. So if you're a big Lego fan or just a big Steamboat Willie fan like I am, you should get this, and I probably will. Depends how much they are. When did Legos become like ridiculously expensive? Have they always been crazy expensive? I didn't use Legos a lot play with Legos a lot as a kid, so I don't really know how much they cost. But like, when you go into a store now and like the Millennium Falcon is like $300, you're like, what? I get that they're big, but like they're tiny little bricks. How can they cost that much money? I don't understand. Now that I'm done ranting, moving on to the next story. This is a big news, and I want to get Alex's take on this on Jedi Talk. We'll have him on later. He's got some announcements as well. Disney has rehired James Gunn to direct Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. This is a pretty fascinating turn of events here. I was not expecting this at all, but I'm very, very glad it happened. I think you don't get as good of a Guardians movie if you don't have James Gunn as the director. I just think that it was such a unique tone that everyone's trying to rip off now. Shazam's looking like they're trying to rip it off. Marvel itself is like everything's a freaking joke now in the MCU, which is why I hated Thor Ragnarok, because Guardians of the Galaxy is genuinely funny. Thor Ragnarok is not funny. I don't understand how everyone says that it was one of their favorite MCU films. I do not understand that. I don't get it at all. But I'm very excited that James Gunn is returning to direct Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Now, I do wonder, again, my brain always goes to the parks, if he's going to be involved in any way with the Guardians of the Galaxy coaster at Epcot, because he was heavily involved and filmed the scenes in Mission Breakout, if memory serves me correctly. He actually filmed that stuff and directed it. So could he be involved with it? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see and see what happens with that. But I am very curious. What do you guys think of all this news? I want to know mostly what you think about the Fox merger. Let me know over on Twitter. It's a very short show today because I'm doing this by myself and I'm having to squeeze this in between work and running around like a crazy person. So I apologize for the short show, but I'm just trying to stay on schedule. By the way, YouTube now is going to be Monday and Wednesday videos. So you won't get a Wednesday video this week because I did the trailer reaction to Toy Story yesterday to make it timely. So Wednesday, today, you will not be getting a video, but Monday and Wednesday is going forward now. And I'm going to try to do either Monday and Wednesday as well for the podcast, or Tuesday, Thursday. I'm going to do Tuesday, Thursday for the podcast. But again, this one's going to come up early because I missed Monday. But we are just preparing everything for Star Wars Celebration. I'm ordering equipment, getting stuff ready. I've already done like packing to make sure everything I have fits, and it's still 22 days away. But guys, Star Wars Celebration. I keep harping on this, but it's a big deal. We got invited as media, so I want everyone to know that we are going to be at Star Wars Celebration. So I will be your source for Star Wars Celebration news, and I'm going to make Alex set up a Twitter for his stuff too, because he needs a Twitter for the podcast and everything else. He needs to set it up. So, all right, friends, I will see you guys on the next show. It'll be much longer. I have an idea for a show. By the way, if you have an idea for a show that you would like to hear us talk about, a topic, please let us know. Again, on Twitter, @ViewsWithHughes on Twitter. That's where you can get in contact with me pretty much anytime, day or night. I am on Twitter quite a bit just because I like to interact with you guys. It's fun. So I will see you guys on the next show. Have a great day, and may the Force be with you, and eat my shorts. I can say that now because it's a Disney phrase. Have a great night, guys. Bye. Well, I hope you enjoyed this episode of Park Views with Brad Hughes. Thank you for downloading. I will see you guys next time. But before we leave, don't forget, follow me on Twitter and Periscope and Instagram @ViewsWithHughes, and rate and review the show on iTunes and Stitcher. I'll see you guys next time. Have a great day.